There's something I want to say to you today, and I hope you're somewhere comfortable where you can really take this in. Maybe you're lying in bed right now, or sitting by a window watching the world go by. Or maybe you're on your way somewhere, and this is playing through your headphones. Wherever you are, I want you to know that this moment matters. Not because I'm about to say something magical that will change everything overnight, but because you chose to be here. You chose to press play. And that tells me something about your heart. It tells me you're still hoping. It tells me that despite everything you've been through, despite the disappointments and the confusion and the moments when you wondered if love was even real, you haven't given up. And I don't think that's an accident. I think there's something stirring inside you that refuses to let the past have the final word over your future. So let's talk about that today. Let's talk about where you've been, where you are, and what faith looks like when you're standing at the edge of something new. I've been thinking a lot lately about gardens. Not the kind you see in magazines, where everything is perfectly arranged and color-coordinated, but the real kind. The kind where you get dirt under your fingernails and your back aches from bending over. And some things grow and some things don't, no matter how much you water them. I think that's what love has felt like for some of you. You've planted seeds in soil that wasn't ready. You've given sunlight to things that were never going to bloom, no matter how much warmth you poured into them. And after a while, you started to wonder if the problem was you. Maybe I'm not good at this, you thought. Maybe I don't have what it takes to make something beautiful grow. But here's what I've come to understand about gardening, and about life, and about love. Sometimes the soil isn't wrong, and the seed isn't broken, and you didn't do anything incorrectly. Sometimes it just wasn't the right season. There's a verse in Ecclesiastes that says there's a time for everything under heaven. A time to plant and a time to uproot. A time to weep and a time to laugh. A time to mourn and a time to dance. And I think what's happening in your life right now is a shift in seasons. Not because the calendar changed, but because something inside you is changing. You're not the same person you were 2 years ago. You're not even the same person you were 6 months ago. The disappointments didn't just hurt you. They shaped you. They taught you things you couldn't have learned any other way. And now you carry wisdom you didn't ask for, but you have it nonetheless. I want you to think about something for a moment. Think about the last time you felt truly exhausted by love. Not tired in a good way, like after a long day spent with someone you care about, but exhausted in that empty way where you gave and gave and gave, and there was nothing coming back. Where you were pouring from a cup that was already running dry, and wondering why you felt so hollow. That exhaustion wasn't a sign of weakness. It was a signal. It was your soul telling you that something wasn't aligned. That the effort you were making wasn't meant for that particular situation. And I know that's hard to hear, because when you love someone, you want to believe that love can fix anything. But sometimes love isn't meant to fix. Sometimes love is meant to teach you what you will no longer tolerate, so that when the right thing comes, you'll recognize it immediately. I think God works that way sometimes, not by giving us exactly what we want when we want it, but by preparing us through experiences that feel like setbacks, but are actually setups. There's a proverb that says the heart of man plans his way, but the Lord establishes his steps. And I've found that to be true in my own life more times than I can count. I made plans. I had timelines. I thought I knew how things were supposed to unfold, and then life happened. And what actually unfolded was different from what I imagined, but somehow better than what I could have designed on my own. That's not a guarantee. I'm not here to promise you that everything will work out exactly how you're hoping. I'm not going to tell you that in 3 months or 6 months or a year, this specific thing will happen. That's not how faith works. Faith isn't a vending machine where you put in your prayers and out comes exactly what you ordered. Faith is trust without certainty. It's walking forward when you can't see the entire path. It's believing that the one who made you knows what you need better than you know it yourself. And that kind of trust is terrifying and liberating all at the same time. Let me tell you something I've observed over the years. The people who end up in the healthiest, most fulfilling relationships aren't always the ones who tried the hardest. They're the ones who learned when to stop trying. Not in a giving up kind of way, but in a surrendering kind of way. There's a difference. Giving up says, "This will never happen for me, so why bother?" Surrendering says, "I believe something good is possible, and I trust that it will come in a way and at a time that's beyond my control." Surrendering is active, not passive. It requires strength, not weakness. It means doing the work on yourself while releasing the outcome to something greater than yourself. And that's where I think you might be right now. In that place of surrender, whether you realize it or not. You've been through enough cycles of trying to force things that you're finally starting to let go. And that letting go isn't defeat. It's maturity. It's wisdom. It's the beginning of something new. I want to talk about worth for a minute because I think it's connected to everything else. Your worth doesn't come from whether or not someone chooses you. Your worth doesn't come from how attractive you are, or how successful you are, or how many people have wanted to be with you. Your worth was established before you ever took your first breath. The psalmist wrote that we are fearfully and wonderfully made. And that wasn't a conditional statement. It wasn't, "You are fearfully and wonderfully made if you achieve certain things, or if someone falls in love with you." It was a declaration of truth about who you are at your core. And when you start to really believe that, when it moves from something you've heard 1,000 times to something you actually feel in your bones, everything changes. You stop trying to convince people that you're worth staying for, because you already know. And the people who are meant to be in your life will recognize it too. They won't need to be convinced. They'll see it clearly. I've watched people transform when they stop looking for someone to complete them and start allowing themselves to be whole first. Not perfect, whole. There's a difference. Perfection is impossible and exhausting to pursue. Wholeness is about integration. It's about accepting all the parts of yourself, the light and the shadow, the strength and the vulnerability, and bringing them together into one coherent person. And when you meet someone from that place of wholeness, the relationship is completely different. It's not two half people trying to become one. It's two complete people choosing to walk together. That's what partnership is supposed to look like. Equal, balanced, chosen, not needed. I think about Ruth in the Bible sometimes, when I think about love and timing and faithfulness. Ruth didn't go looking for Boaz. She was busy doing what was in front of her, gathering grain, providing for her family, being faithful in the small things. And in the course of that faithfulness, she was noticed. Not because she was trying to be noticed, but because she was living with integrity and purpose. And Boaz saw her, and he didn't just see her, he moved toward her with intention and respect and honor. That story has always stayed with me, because it reminds me that the best things often come when we're focused on the right things, not desperately searching, but faithfully living. I want to be honest with you about something. Marriage is beautiful, but it's not the ultimate goal of your life. Your relationship with God is. Your growth as a human being is. Your service to others is. Your becoming who you were created to be is. Marriage, when it comes, is a partnership that supports all of those things. But it's not the finish line. It's not the thing that will finally make you happy after years of being unhappy. If you're not at peace with yourself before marriage, marriage won't give you that peace. It will only amplify what's already there. So part of the preparation, and I do believe there's a season of preparation happening in your life right now, is becoming someone who is at peace with your past, at peace with your present, at peace with the uncertainty of the future. That's easier said than done, I know, but it's possible. It happens little by little, day by day, choice by choice. Every time you choose self-compassion over self-criticism, you're building peace. Every time you release a grudge or forgive someone who hurt you, you're building peace. Every time you say no to something that doesn't serve your well-being, you're building peace. They create a foundation. And that foundation becomes the thing you stand on when the right person finally arrives. If you've been hurt before, and I suspect you have, I want to speak directly to that hurt for a moment. It was real. What you felt was valid. The confusion, the rejection, the wondering what you did wrong, all of it was real, and all of it mattered. But it doesn't define you. It doesn't determine your future. The people who couldn't see your value were not the measuring stick of your worth. They were simply people who weren't meant to stay, and that's okay. It doesn't mean they were terrible people. It doesn't mean you have to hate them. It just means they weren't your person. And every not your person you encounter is actually bringing you closer to understanding who your person actually is. Because now you know what you don't want. Now you know what doesn't work. Now you know what kind of love leaves you empty and what kind of love fills you up. That's valuable information. Don't throw it away. Use it. Let me say something about patience, because I think it's one of the hardest virtues to practice. We live in a world that tells us everything should happen immediately. Instant messages, instant deliveries, instant answers. But matters of the heart don't work that way. They unfold slowly. They require time and trust, and sometimes seasons of waiting that feel endless. James wrote that patience produces perseverance, and perseverance produces character, and character produces hope. And hope, he said, does not disappoint. That's the progression. Patience leads to hope, and hope is not wishful thinking. Hope is confident expectation rooted in trust. So when I encourage you to be patient, I'm not telling you to be passive. I'm telling you to keep building, keep healing, keep growing, keep trusting, and let the timing unfold as it will. I don't say that as a psychic prediction. I say that as someone who believes in the goodness of God and the faithfulness of His character. He sees you. He knows the desires of your heart. He hasn't forgotten you. And in His perfect timing, which rarely matches our preferred timing, things will unfold that will make sense of the waiting. Until then, live fully. Love the people who are already in your life. Invest in friendships. Pursue your purpose. Take care of your body and your mind and your spirit. Don't put your life on hold, waiting for a relationship to start. Your life is already happening. This is it, right now, this moment. And the more you embrace it, the more attractive you become. Not just physically, but energetically. There's something magnetic about a person who is fully alive, fully present, fully engaged with the world around them. That kind of person doesn't have to chase anyone. People are drawn to them naturally. If this message has meant something to you today, if it's stirred something in your heart, or given you a new perspective, or simply reminded you that you're not alone in this journey, I'm grateful. That's why I do this. That's why I show up here on the Angels Decode channel and share these reflections. Not because I have all the answers, but because I believe we're meant to encourage one another. If you'd like to be part of this community, consider subscribing. It's just a small way of staying connected and continuing the conversation. I also want to invite you to do something simple before you leave. Leave a comment, not for me, but for someone else who might scroll down and need to see it. Write something hopeful. Write something encouraging. You never know whose day you might change with a few kind words. We're all walking this road together, trying to make sense of love and life and faith. And sometimes the greatest gift we can give each other is simply showing up and saying, I see you, I hear you, and I believe good things are coming. So as we come to the end of this time together, I want to leave you with this thought. You are not behind. You are not late. You are not forgotten. You are exactly where you need to be, learning what you need to learn, becoming who you need to become. And when the time is right, and I trust that it will come, you will look back on this season and understand why it had to happen the way it did. Until then, Be gentle with yourself, be patient with the process, and trust in the one who holds your future in hands far more capable than your own. I'm grateful you spent this time with me today. Truly. May peace be with you. May hope sustain you. And may the love that you've been seeking find its way to you in ways more beautiful than you ever imagined. Take care of yourself.